Referee discussed a few things. Lineout being set for Tampa. And watch out how Tampa uses their forward pods in succession after set pieces. Earlier, they went to the front pod, got the ball back. This time, they're going front lift, brought down as the scrum half swings the ball out wide. Out the back play by Tampa, and they found space on the bottom of the screen here to their hooker. Jessie dragged by her knees down to the ground. South Buffalo frantically bringing defenders in, pull down some of these great Tampa ball carriers. Another pop pass crash in the center of the field. Tampa has found a bit of momentum going out the back of the forward pod. They have numbers again. And like a rocket, shooting through full speed at the catch the ball in that line, and Tampa has South Buffalo reeling, unable to get back in time and intercepting the pop pass. Offsides called. Oliver was not going to allow that play to persist for South Buffalo, stealing in that way as they quick tap and go again. South Buffalo with a strong surge to counter ruck. South Buffalo might have taken that, and they have. And again, ping pong action as Tampa gets a steal back and driving strong leg into the try zone. Tampa, Cruz, lock, going in to score. Number 5, Sonic Caval from Michigan State grad, Rockford, Michigan born, and she is adding more points for the Tampa Krewe, scoring underneath the sticks. It's a great try, Darren. And as you can see,
this was just a well-deserved try coming in from the number 6 there. Looks like that was Ferguson for Krewe. And so now Tampa, they just seem to be extending their lead. If you missed it, we are now at 15-0. Tampa Krewe are on top against the South Buffalo side, and a center kick is to come. Kick goes up, it bounces off of the sidelines. We've seen that time and time again. Sometimes those conversions can make a pretty big difference.
Doink right off of the upright. And those kind of conversions really, they'd be placed in the back of your mind. Will we need those points later on? Will those 2 points or lack of 2 points come back to hunt us? Tampa Bay right now, though, completely out of their mind. They have been rolling, playing on the offensive end of South Buffalo, really causing problems. Phase after phase after phase. And that misconversion, as I said, could come back to hunt them, but I don't think Tampa Bay's thinking of that at all.
And both teams right now are competing for the opportunity to play in that women's D2 final that will happen at 11 a.m. Central Time, where Next Level Rugby will be bringing you all of the action on the Rugby Network. Whoever wins this game will play Scrum now underway as Donegan goes in and finishes it out. Gets it to a Snyder off of Oliveri, who runs a beautiful switch inside, and she's off to the races. South Buffalo, it doesn't look like anybody's home. Lance, you said her name, and she wants you to say it again. Let's talk about that individual try that just came in from the inside center, the number 12.
Tampa has found ways to use deception on every situation they created for themselves. Going out the back of forwards and finding space in the open side of the field. In this case, running a switch. Unfortunately, that inside help for South Buffalo wasn't there. And once Snyder got the ball, Snyder was going to ball. She went all the way to the try line. And this is starting to turn into what I've seen from this Tampa side for the better part of 2 seasons. Getting out strong, confidently on teams. And usually they break teams later in the game with their forward pack running and playing so confrontational in the middle of the field. But early on, they're giving South Buffalo as much as they can handle, adding in their 4th try in the opening part of this first half. Scary times for South Buffalo. They have to find a way to get their hands on the ball and keep it. They haven't had enough ball possession to really show what they're capable of. Unfortunately, Tampa is being stingy with the ball. And a great try by Snyder, looking back to see where the competition's at as she adds 5 to her side.
And Tampa Krewe did knock out the Minks, who were the defending D2 champions last year. They beat them 41-8. So Tampa Krewe do know how to put on some points, and they know how to play, as they're already breaking tackles here off of that kickoff receipt. Well taken by Ferguson, as the forward pads now work that interplay. And Casham is always ready to cash in some meters there, as Donegan goes to Oliveri, who then goes to Boot, goes over the back. This kicking game is really turning South Buffalo around, as the wing Bobek, though, does well to recover. Runs it into another one of the South Buffalo players, but they do well to get over the top of that. A little bit of an isolation. It comes in for Boyd. She gets tossed out of bounds, and now a line out goes right back to Tampa Krewe. And Lance, let's just talk about the body language for South Buffalo. We're seeing some heads down and some frustration here early on in the first half.
And nothing seems to be going their way. Even on that situation, they finally turned to get the ball back, and they finally had an opportunity to have their hands on the ball, but immediately turn it over, getting pushed out of bounds. And that kick with the line speed and the chase is putting South Buffalo under so much pressure every single time.
They don't get the ball in. The lineout goes over the top, and then it goes off of the boot of the Pitliangas, number 9 for South Buffalo, and Tampa Krewe end up with it in hand. They've got number Saburn out wide, as a little bit of a show and go, gets it into the hands of the earlier try scorer, Jarrett. Jarrett offloads it right back inside to Oliveri to keep the ball away from that sideline. The last defender does not miss, but a big hit comes in, and the defensive pressure now is put on by South Buffalo. Coming up into the line, though, as well, is Ferguson. She's so ball hungry when she's got that ball in hand. Donegan moves it to the number 7, who then moves it through the hands. Snyder tries to give a little bit of switch into her outside center's hand. Casham just not able to field that well into the Casham sisters. And so we see a knock on that will go in favor of South Buffalo.
Ample opportunity for South Buffalo. Get some water, take a break, take a breather, and figure out the things you can correct to get yourself back in this game, one try at a time.
And we'll take a quick break while the players go ahead and talk shop. We'll be right back with
Credo Rugby is a development platform that helps rugby clubs create and sell their on-field, training, and supporters gear. We work with clubs of all sizes, from grassroots to professional, and help them generate revenue to support their continuous development. Attention all rugby fans. World Rugby Shop is your one-stop shop for all your rugby gear needs. Whether you're a seasoned player or just starting out, World Rugby Shop offers an extensive selection of top-quality gear and apparel to elevate your game. From jerseys and shorts to boots and accessories, we've got you covered. Visit us today to see why World Rugby Shop is your ultimate destination for everything rugby. Gear up today.
Rugby's always this macho setting that, you know, it's all about strength. You don't want to show any weakness, but the reality is that people do go through their own battles. Why is it important for us all within the rugby community to really kind of normalise this conversation that surrounds mental health?
We play in a very high stress situation all the time.
There's always a stigma around men that we have to be bravado and like strong.
Within every player, there's always something that you don't always, bring forth to the table, you don't always put out.
Sometimes you don't know it's affecting your game.
Learning ways to connect with other guys, be in environments where you can have the right conversations, be yourself, and share has been super helpful and super important to me in my career, and it's allowed me to grow and mature to the point where, I can handle what professional rugby is going to throw at me.
I think rugby's best played when you're happy and you're enjoying it and you're confident. And I think that these core tenets of being able to play well are fundamentally structured in and having a clear mind and not having anything weighing and dragging you down. So clearing up and strengthening the mental aspect is going to inevitably affect the physical aspect. So I think they're completely connected there.
It's hugely important.
Welcome back, team. We've got the Tampa Krewe on top, 22-0 over the South Buffalo side. And Lance, some athletes on the Tampa Krewe team. We've got the Casham couple here with the number 7, Kelsey Chapman, and then we've got Chelsea Casham as well. But let's talk about the dynamicism that we're seeing here within Tampa Krewe. It's just incredible.
They've had this system operating for so long. I've seen it live in game action multiple times. They're going to put pressure on the back three. If you're not organized defensively, and you're not getting proper support from these forward packs having to retreat on these kicks, you're going to find isolated back three players, wingers, and fullbacks, and it's going to be a long day for Buffalo. That trend has already started as this scrum gets turned. But Buffalo has a few things that they can rely on and reel on. They haven't really been contesting to get poachers at rucks, and I want to see if they start playing a little bit more high-pressure line speed defensively to shut down Tampa before they can get running.
South Buffalo holding a lot more firm on that scrum, but referee Oliver just not happy with the front row. So now Tampa will go ahead and go quick. They move it through the left, and then they get a knock on there, not common for Tampa Krewe. And so South Buffalo will get another opportunity to go ahead and get out of this end.
Sigh of relief to find yourself giving away a scrum free kick and an opportunity to get out of your own end, and immediately Tampa turns the ball back over. You are right, a bit uncharacteristic, but one team's trash is another team's treasure. South Buffalo, though, has to find a way to clear and get some territory away from their own try line.
And the Krewe is always looking for treasure here, but the South Buffalo make the adaptation. They hold strong, and Risto now gets it. There's a lot of space here to burn. They do get it to the wing, but the wing just not able to get that ball. South Buffalo's Harris knocks it on. We're on the right-hand side now as Tampa Krewe now go ahead and recover, and they'll get yet another opportunity to attack. Snyder takes it right into the line, and Snyder just continues to pump the legs, waits for the support that comes in from the Krewe. Looks like their scrum half goes in, so coming across was Jarrett to get it to the forward pods, and cashing in some more meters. She gets over the line. They're well into the 22 now. And none other than Rodriguez is going to go ahead and take it right into the guts. Just these soak tackles coming in from South Buffalo. And they've got an overload if they decide to use it. They do well, though. This is good ball movement from them as they get it into the hands of the lock. With Held gets it over and then offloads it to number 11, it looks like, the wing. And this continuity they're building is getting them the go forward that they need. Can Tampa Krewe get 27 points on the board here early? Arm goes out there on the right-hand side. Oliver found a penalty within South Buffalo. Holding them up with almost a turtle-like defense was Filer, but a penalty will come in now for Oliver. And South Buffalo are going to have to play some more defense. Donegan goes quickly, though. Donegan moves it to the left-hand side, and it looks like somebody's over the line. And 27-0, it looks like that might be the number 9 or the number 10. We'll get a number for you in just a second. But Lance, South Buffalo have nothing to say to the Krewe.
Line speed defensively and the inability to poach or contest for the ball after each tackle is causing major issues with South Buffalo. It seems as though they're just losing meterage slowly but surely, hoping for a mistake from Tampa. Tampa is resourcing these rucks properly. Tampa is playing with appropriate speed offensively. Their team structure on attack is potent. As you can see, they're running behind the forwards. They're running straight direct. And South Buffalo is having a hard time slowing down Tampa Krewe. We're not even beginning to get in the realm of stopping, but slowing down Tampa Krewe. The only time Tampa seems to lose his ball is when they kick it away for territory and tactics. As that conversion falls short, South Buffalo down 27-0. Still in the first 25 minutes of this championship semifinal. They have to find a way defensively, though, to connect better and push and add pressure, because Tampa is not going to slow down at all. They will put up 80 points in the playoffs multiple times.
South Buffalo yet again will go ahead and kick off to a waiting Tampa Krewe. It just seems like they're getting better and better on attack, but this is to see who is going to play against either Phoenixville, Whitehorse, or the Sacramento Amazons for the D2 championship that'll happen on Sunday. Right there, though, South Buffalo, finally a glimpse of hope there. A penalty within the 40 now finally gets us down in this end after 25 minutes of playing for both sides.
And how strong South Buffalo has played throughout the course of the playoffs and their season. This is the appropriate time for them to show up and play with a little bit of urgency. Their attack has been known to put multiple tries on teams. I believe in the championship of the Northern Super Regional, they had multiple players score hat tricks. It was a foot race. They got out to running, and it seems as though they found a roadblock in Tampa Krewe. Now with the ball inside of the 50-meter line on their side of the field, what can they create?
And the lineup does well. It bounces right in front of the 9 who fields it cleanly, and DeGrood moves it to the forwards that are in the middle. Taking it right into the center field is the South Buffalo side, using their forwards now to try and bully over. The top was Conway.
And a kick causing the pressure. It seems that South Buffalo has turned the tides and used the same approach that Tampa has been known for throughout the year. Going to the kick as a defensive pressure at Tampa is causing problems after Gabriela Despena was tackled the phase after there, right after it, causing a turnover. And again, South Buffalo able to get the ball through their forwards, able to attack, but it seems as though Tampa was holding strong and holding their defensive integrity. Darian, South Buffalo have a glimpse of life in what seems to be a lopsided matchup early in this game. Points mean something big. Can they get in, though?
South Buffalo now in the best attacking position that they've been in all match. As we get underway here, put in will come in from Pitlianga. She gets to the back of the scrum that's under a little bit of pressure there. We hear the blow of the whistle. Referee Oliver not happy. So a long arm penalty goes in favor of South Buffalo. And Tampa Krewe now is starting to really lack a little bit of discipline here. DeGrood will go ahead and go to boot. And South Buffalo feeling very confident in their line out. They'll go ahead and attack about 10 meters outside of their try zone. And Lance, as you were just saying, points mean everything for South Buffalo, especially when you're down about 27 points.
And to this case, it's any points. A penalty, a try, anything that can get them some numbers on the board, it would be vital right now.
The maul slowly starts to form here, and the feet start moving, but they're going the wrong way, almost getting taken out of bounds, Tampa Krewe, but they do well to recycle back on the inside. A little bit of a bullying shoulder comes in and puts Pitliangas under pressure. Leaves space, though. Dispenza moves it to the 15, who then moves it to the 14. Can they get it to the number 11? She's got space to burn, trying to get around. Was a Tampa Krewe defender, but Bobek is the hope that this South Buffalo side needs. 5-27, and South Buffalo finally gets some points on the board here.
So I believe our roster might be wrong. That was Brianna Harris going in to score as they get all the way around the side. And that is exactly what they need, condensing as many players to one side of the field as they can, draw and attack, draw and release. And with as much space as she had, it was a race to the corner. And Brianna Harris working and dealing, getting all the way in, putting the try down and adding 5 points, cutting into this deficit that they found themselves in early in this first half, excuse me.
DeGrood will take this conversion. It is unsuccessful here. So 5-27 after a try from the number 11, which is Harris. She's able to finally get over for some points on the board. But Lance, we talked about grit and game management coming in. We're starting to see a gritty side coming in from South Buffalo.
Yeah, capitalizing on mistakes is the name of the game, especially in high pressure championship level situations. You got to play as perfect as rugby as possible. And Tampa giving up multiple penalties, allowing South Buffalo to get down the field, not through hard work and running through your defensive line, but by mistakes that allow South Buffalo to kick down the field, retain possession, and kick down the field again. The Maul set up a situation where the space was on the outside. South Buffalo trending upward, but can it continue?
Kick goes underway, and South Buffalo finally find themselves on the receiving end of a kickoff as Conway takes it into center field, right into the heart. But contesting at the breakdown was Tampa Krewe. They're unsuccessful, but trying to work around the hinge is South Buffalo. Attack gets a little bit flat there, so they go to the boot, and it finds its way right into the hands of, looks like that may be the Snyder, and it is dangerous as they work it to the sideline. Taking it in now was O'Neal, the captain. So Tampa Krewe now right back in this end, which is where they love to be. But a good hard launch almost gets Casham to ground, but the leg drive gets her those meters going forward. Donegan now hits another pod who decides to work it in the hands of Ferguson. Slowing it down just a skosh there. She moves it to the backs who always love to play. Snyder takes it right into the heart of South Buffalo. 3 defenders to bring it down. Looks like there might be a player down there for South Buffalo, but the attack continues on for Tampa Krewe. Almost gets a little bit isolated there. Risto wanted to work it over, and Rodriguez from the Krewe always willing to take it into contact. Oliveri's there and waiting for the ball as the forwards work it out here, running a very strong system. O'Neal loves to be right on the hip of Casham. And just slowly chipping away at this defense is the Krewe. But a good defensive line comes up, and Rodriguez doesn't have the option to move it. Trying to contest at ruck time. They slow down the ball just slightly, and they're able to stop the ball right in Snyder's hands, but somebody who runs a beautiful support line was the number 15 for the Krewe, and it opens up some space to the left-hand side. It's like Ferguson is able to get just 1 extra meter there, using it within their interplay. They do a nice little tips pass, and now they're about a meter out, and it looks like there's somebody pinned underneath there from South Buffalo. Oliver calling for them to back up, but somebody who does not back up is the number 6, Ferguson, who pushes the hips over, pushes it over for a try. And now we are going to be at 32-5, the Krewe on top, and about 8 minutes left to go here in this first half.
We have to take note on South Buffalo's inability to threaten turnover. Tampa isn't going to drop the ball, or you can't count on them to drop the ball, make errant passes. They found their rhythm, they found their confidence, and they're not even trying to go to the backs from what we've seen so far. They're running 4 crash lines in multiple phases, and towards the bottom of that try, or the back end of that try inside the 5-meter line, the pick and goal was on. Tampa's found their confidence, and if South Buffalo doesn't increase that defensive line speed to add some pressure, because they're getting pushed back with every phase, at no point did they keep Tampa from reaching or moving past the gain line. It's scary hour for Buffalo as Tampa Krewe answers immediately back after conceding a try as we begin to close out this first half.
Oliveri gives a boot, and then now our score is going to be 34-5. And Lance, it's hot here in Houston. We're at 85 degrees, no wind, and one of the only states that can empathize with the heat is Tampa Krewe. South Buffalo is from Buffalo, New York. It's not as hot down here. Weather plays a big difference.
Absolutely, and this weather is vacation level coming from certain parts of New York, upstate New York, or in the surrounding areas of New York. This heat, the humidity, and the lack of rain, and there are other questions. Do they play on grass a lot, or is it turf in Buffalo? These things can really affect how a team is able to manage their system throughout a matchup.
Tampa Krewe do well to manage that kick, and they get it over the 40 now. Trying to contest at ruck time is South Buffalo, but illegally. Somebody got stuck under there. Looks like that was Decker. Got called for a not rolling away penalty. And Lance, we talk about how penalties are basically just meters given to the other team. Tampa Krewe decided to go ahead and slow it down, and they'll elect for the scrum off of that long arm penalty.
Yeah, you don't want to give anyone a shot at advancing the ball and bettering themselves. You don't want to make it easier for anyone. You're already playing against the scoreboard. You're already playing against the clock. You're playing against a team that's undefeated, same as you are. The best option is to force them play in high pressure, play with high pressure, high intensity, force them to make mistakes. But you cannot give up penalties against teams that are gaining confidence the way that Tampa has in the beginning of this half.
Somebody who's confident off of the back of that scrum is Bradley from Tampa Krewe. Bradley, by an ankle-bite tackle, gets a little bit too overconfident there, gives an offload to the number 15 Black, and she's just not able to reel it in. Ball gets knocked on there, and so South Buffalo get a scrum. Got about 5 minutes left to go here in this first half.
And you can actually see how loose Tampa are on attack. 8-man pick going to the weak side, away from any offensive help, finding the space, breaking the line. Even that offload, even though it was errant, the execution is the question, not the idea. And even after the knock on, you see Tampa players just smiling like, oh, almost. We almost got another one. Seems like they're off and running.
Lianga set for the put in there. They hold strong at the scrum. Goes in the hands of DeGrood, who gets it to Risto. Risto runs a switch with Dispenza, but there waiting was the opposing center. But Dispenza doesn't need it. She powers over. And now the backs are going to go ahead and try and move it through the hands yet again. They get it into the hands of Harris, the try scorer. Harris gets around the corner now, and Harris is off to the races. Black makes a very crucial tackle there right at the 50. And South Buffalo now are on the front foot here as Tampa Krewe has to regather. Somebody who gathers somebody well is Snyder. A big hit, it puts her right on to the back foot. And now the attack just getting caught a little bit flat-footed here for South Buffalo. Can they break through this Krewe defense? The Krewe holding strong around the interior, but kind of having to toss around South Buffalo. Got some big runs. Oliver ducks underneath, thinking that they go left. They move it to the right-hand side, though, with the forwards. And recovering well, they've got to find some way to break through this defense as the launch comes very well from Tampa Krewe. Risto almost spots a little bit of a gap there. Offloads it, though, to the number 6. This is some good interplay coming in. Looks like the ball kind of hits the deck. Player stays down, though, on that South Buffalo side, and referee decides to pause the game for just a second. She goes straight to the X, which means that we might have a possible head injury.
Yeah, and that was a tough tackle. Substitute Alyssa Chirac came in early into this half. That was her first real hit up and since being subbed in, and she's already making an impact. That collision right there around the 50-meter line, both teams are kicking up the intensity. One tackle by Chirac. She's back on her feet. The ball immediately goes to a defender. That's her assignment. And she's right on top of it. Kabuya. And immediately after that tackle, the player stayed down. We don't want to see anyone get hurt, but we love the physicality. Tampa's adding injecting a bit of physical into this matchup. And that can actually blow the gates off this thing.
South Buffalo player getting attended to there. Still waiting to see what number that is, but it looks like that was Boyd, who just took a not so fun hit right at center field. So the athletic training staff are here, but these whatever team wins today, whether that be Tampa Krewe or South Buffalo, will be playing against either the Phoenixville White Horse or the Sacramento Amazons, depending on who wins. We'll be bringing it to you at 11 a.m. on Sunday, all thanks to Next Level Rugby. For every day is a rugby day, but not every Sunday is championship day. She is up and moving. Boyd will go ahead and stroll back to her team, which is a good sight to see. Kind of brushes it off there, but these big hits are going to shake up a few players.
And we've seen a little bit of South Buffalo having the initiative, playing on the front foot, bringing physicality to this Tampa Krewe side. But Tampa responds in kind. Big hits in the middle of the field, not only by Chirac, who just got in, but also Snyder had a big hit earlier in that phase build-up. Both teams really starting to kick it up a little bit, and I love to see it.
Liongas will put in for the scrum there. That was called by Oliver after that long time gone to attend to Boyd. And moving it through the hands now, Dispenza gets it to the left-hand side, the outside center, who then gets it to the wing. Back almost gets around the corner, gives a one-off offload. And luckily, Lanao is there to clean it up. She moves it to Dispenza, and Dispenza gets some meters going, but also finds herself right out into touch. And let me tell you something, Black does not allow anybody through that defensive line. 29-21, Phoenixville Whitehorse ends up on top of the Sacramento Amazons, which means that they will have punched their ticket to the D2 championship on Sunday, tomorrow. But still to come, though, we'll see who wins this game as Tampa Krewe 34-5, and they won the line out now. Go ahead and go on the attack. About a minute and a half left to go here in this first half. They do well to move it to the Wings' hands, who just cuts right in between the Dispenza and Bobek. Coming across well and trying their build their defensive line is South Buffalo, as the Krewe bullying their way over top, get some more meters and are over the 50. They go behind the forward pod there. Snyder decides to go ahead and take it her own. There was a big disconnect that happened there for South Buffalo. Can Snyder get another 5 to her name? 1 fen, 2 fen. Harris decides to go ahead and keep her out, but she does well to get up quickly. And Snyder gets another try to the name, 39-5. The Krewe are just dominating here in this first half.
Deja vu for all of those players who've been around the Florida rugby scene over the last couple years, breaking the back of this South Buffalo defense, having so many players congested on one side of the field. Snyder immediately looks up, sees giant amounts of space, all that green, and nope. And we're just looking at her just completely dominate, running around 3 or 4 defenders, pushing one off as she gets tackled, able to set the ball, get back to her feet, solo effort. I don't need no help, she says. And Snyder, again, try number 2, trying to step up for a hat trick here in the semifinals. 39-5 with a conversion to come.
I think this might be our final play before we enter into half. 39-5, the Krewe on top with a kick to come as Oliveri gets set for the kick. Revs up, gives it a little boot. Looks like it might have gone through the stick, so that's going to bring our score 41-5, the Krewe on top. We've got a whole other half. South Buffalo are going to have some hard conversations if they want to punch in their ticket to the D2 final against the Phoenixville Whitehorse side. But Lance, there just seems to be no answers here for them.
Tampa seems to be going with the game plan that got him here. Very confrontational with the forward pack, and when the opportunity presents itself, as we see, Snyder is off to the races, scoring in so many different ways all around the pitch. Tampa Krewe, the Krewe is rolling.
We'll be right back for some more second half action for ya. Tampa Krewe women on top, 41-5 over South Buffalo.
A message from the rugby universe. America, get in the game. It's time the sleeping giant of rugby got off the sideline and into the action. But like all big jobs, you'll need the right tools. Go to worldrugbyshop.com for boots, jerseys, shorts, and scrum caps. Everything you'll need to rock and roll. Get the right kit for playing and training, plus the finest selection of official supporters gear from around the globe. Worldrugbyshop.com, America's home for rugby.
May is Mental Fitness Month.
Major League Rugby has partnered with USI Insurance Services and Looseheads
In a united effort to tackle the stigma.
Together, we are committed to changing the game.
With the mission of placing a mental health lead in every rugby club
around the world.
With the right plan, the right team, and hard work, even the most unpredictable events can be overcome. At USI, you have the whole team on your side, protecting you from the unexpected and making sure you bounce back better than ever. We take the time to understand your concerns and provide solutions with customized game plans for you and your business. It's Major League focus and results for you. And we call it the USI One Advantage.
I chose to take Thorne supplements over another brand because they're sports backed. The products are also top of the line and they also taste great. It's important that the substances athletes take are tested for banned substances. One, because you want to make it a fair, even game, especially with the other players. And you want to make sure what you're putting into your body as an athlete is clean, researched, science-based, and it's healthy for you. So you want to put good in and get good out.
Yeah, Thorne has helped me a lot, especially in the last couple of months. I've had to pack on some weight to be able to play in this league, and I think taking creatine and protein every day and adding in a couple other things has made me a better athlete, a bigger athlete, stronger athlete, and just overall prepared me well. So I take creatine every morning when I first wake up. It's kind of like my checklist or part of my routine. I usually have a protein shake, a Thorne whey as well, so I usually just throw it in there or throw it in with some BCAAs. Whey protein definitely makes my life easier because I can come straight off the gym, straight off the pitch, and it takes 30 seconds to mix up a protein shake and get down some extra protein.
From the Sharks, number 8.
Once again, Van de Hoven up in the air. Inciarte. Oitomen, he breaks. Will he have the support? Be there and support. It's a long run. Will he get there? He gets there. It's a try. Under the post. 7 points.
To understand the game in its fullest, you need to understand what's happening to the ball.
Gilbert is synonymous with every major event that's happened in our sport.
The ball is a conductor of the orchestra. We put a tiny microchip inside the ball. We're getting location information from the ball, speed, spin, distance, trajectory, hang time.
The technology and the innovation behind this ball is truly a game changer.
When we pick up the ball, we also pick up a legacy. A legacy that stretches beyond your current team. A legacy built on the backs of those who came before you with hard work. And for those who will come after you, we promise it won't be easy. But we'll be there, supporting you on and off the field.
The moment you have all been waiting for has finally arrived. The first rugby game that allows you to play and get rewards is now live. Step into tournaments, be the ultimate manager, earn free jerseys and match tickets. It is the heart of rugby, now in digital glory. Build your strategy using real player cards. It's your game, your moves. Buy, trade, play, and create your lineup. For cards, your legacy. Experience rugby like never before. Take your fantasy rugby experience to the next level. Join Overlay.
There might be some dark days, and who have you relied on, and who's been sort of your support system to get you through those times?
For me, especially with this whole process, has been, talking to my loved ones and my
close family. Especially when I'm on the road, get a bit of homesickness, but fortunately with technology these days, I'm able to call the missus, call my parents, stay connected with the people who supported me through all my tough times.
When the times get toughest, those are the people that I turn to, and God is who I turn to, and I've been able to get strength from it.
Making sure you're managing your relationships, leaning on the people that you know you can lean on, has been huge.
It's a really important thing for the players to know, to talk to someone, to open.
How brilliant is it in terms of having this teammate environment that obviously you go out there physically and try and dominate with each other, but then again, it's that sort of camaraderie that's so important to then having good mental well-being.
I think you build so many great friends throughout rugby that is like my safe place.
Your life is kind of like a stool. If you only have rugby and there's only one peg, it's easy to topple over.
Yeah.
But once you have multiple pegs, you have your family, you have a mental health lead, you have those resources, and you have more stability, you're not going to topple over. And that's something that I really take with me everywhere I go.
Let's get ready. Major League Rugby is now.
This is the moment we waited for. Everything you want is right here. We gon' give them what they came for. We gon' take it up from last year.
The Rugby Network is giving you all the free MLR content you want, live and on demand. Never miss a hit, never miss a try, never miss your team. MLR on TRN. Never miss a match.
It's here and it's right for you, the rugby fans. It is the Fantasy League game for Major League Rugby, the only exclusive Fantasy League game for Major League Rugby globally. Getting started is easy. Just log into the platform, head to the play section, and you're in the game. But there's an important step, connecting your wallet.
That's right. To collect player cards, you need to fund your wallet. Oval E offers various options like Ramp, Taurus, MetaMask, each with its own advantages. This process is just a straightforward way to buy in-game tokens, enhancing your gaming experience by allowing you to access different features and player cards within the game.
Once you're set up, explore the play section to see available tournaments. It's where all the action happens.
Looking for new cards? Head to the primary marketplace. And if you're into trading, the secondary marketplace is your playground to sell and swap cards.
Ooh, Oval E is not just a game, Corbs, it's a rugby community and an experience. Whether you're competing in tournaments or trading cards, there's something for every rugby fan.
Exactly. So log in, set up your wallet, and start your manager's journey in Oval E. It's easy, fun, and the rewards are just waiting for you.
Whey protein is my favorite product. Best part about it is I can have it straight after a workout or a training session.
My favorite product is vitamin D. Back in DC, we practice a lot indoors, especially in winter, don't get a lot of sunlight, so having some vitamin D is important. We select Thorn because we know it's tested and it's safe to use.
Have been served. Elias spins it the other way. Ali Khan splits defenders, then the offload. Oh, what kind of magic is this? Sam Tuafua does it again.
Folks, we are here to make the fast food business faster. Many times we don't really know what to order, but there is a part of your body that always does.
Introducing Taste ID. Taste ID will revolutionize the way that your consumers consume.
With just one generous lick. Oh, sorry. There we go. Taste ID will create and order exactly the combo you would like to eat.
And apologies, there's just the one prototype, so you'll just feel free to share.
How do you know our customers will like it?
Like it? They're gonna lick it.
Nice.
Go ahead, lick it, Bob. It has an antivirus. You gotta lick it to get the French fries, Bob.
Come on, where's the Bob we saw last night at the hotel bar?
Get a technology partner that knows your business and your consumers. Globant, technology that really dares to delight.
Welcome to the Rugby Rundown on the Rugby Network. Join myself, Alex Corbacero, and Will Hooley as we bring you your weekly rugby fix.
With the big news, special guests, and unparalleled access, this is your rugby show.
From college rugby, Premiership Women's Rugby, MLR, and more, we've got you covered.
Watch exclusively on the Rugby Network.
Come along for the ride as we bring you the Rugby Rundown.
It's time to hit. It's time to pass. It's time to train, step, and tackle. It's time for tradition. And time for brotherhood. It's rugby time, America. It's rugby time, America.
We are here to make the fast food business faster. With just one generous lick. Sorry. There we go. Taste ID will create exactly the combo you would like to eat.
How do you know our customers will like it?
Like it? They're gonna lick it.
Nice.
Get a technology partner that knows your business and your consumers. Globant, technology that really dares to delight.
Welcome to the Rugby Rundown on the Rugby Network as we bring you your weekly rugby fix.
With the big news, special guests, and unparalleled access, this is your rugby show. Watch exclusively on the Rugby Network.
Credo Rugby is a development platform that helps rugby clubs create and sell their on-field, training, and supporters gear. We work with clubs of all sizes, from grassroots to professional, and help them generate revenue to support their continuous development. Attention all rugby fans. World Rugby Shop is your one-stop shop for all your rugby gear needs. Whether you're a seasoned player or just starting out, World Rugby Shop offers an extensive selection of top-quality gear and apparel to elevate your game. From jerseys and shorts to boots and accessories, we've got you covered. Visit us today to see why World Rugby Shop is your ultimate destination for everything rugby. Gear up today.
Welcome back, team, to the Round Rock Complex here in Houston, Texas, where we've got Tampa Krewe facing off against South Buffalo. Now, Tampa Krewe 41-5 over South Buffalo. Whoever wins this game, we've got a whole second half underway, will play against the Phoenixville White Horse team that just beat the Sacramento Amazons 29-21. My name is Darian Lovelace, joined by a dear friend, one of the most best and most fun commentators to listen to, Lance Kavanaugh. Lance, talk us through what happened in that first half and what South Buffalo need to do if they want to make it to tomorrow.
What happened in that first half was foot on throat. 36-point lead to end half. Tampa Krewe are rolling. Buffalo have found moments of promise, but unfortunately unable to force turnovers and get the ball back from this Tampa Krewe side as they just build and build and build and build. South Buffalo using their backs now, which is a great option, but let's see how that goes through this second half if they can find their way to getting points back.
Just now getting out of the 22 after that kick receipt are South Buffalo as they use the forwards and also use the backs, but a nice fold coming in for Tampa Krewe and a good launch. Still keeps them at the 22. Tianza tries to penetrate through this defense and she's unsuccessful here as the forwards continue to come around. Taking it into the line is Wild, the captain. Finally getting it into the hands of Dispenza, but again, just spending a lot of time here at this 22. Moving it now to the right-hand side. Ball hits the deck and ends up in the hands of a waiting Decker. And just trying to get out of this end is South Buffalo. Lance, you've got to wonder if the game management will start to click for South Buffalo.
Yeah, their structure isn't necessarily a problem offensively. They found ways to gain meterage, as you can see right now, blasting through, getting past the gain line, player not held. They've shown promise in phases and moments, but the line speed from Tampa really forcing South Buffalo to make decisions and unable to really keep the ball for a long amount of time in the first half. This is the longest they've had the ball in the entirety of this game, what we're seeing from them right this moment. And what better time than now, right, Darren?
And none other than Harris has the ball in hand, who was that earlier try scorer. They now have made it into the 40, and then a knock on from DeGrood, the number 10. Unfortunately, that hard work just not able to pay off for them. So Tampa Krewe now will get their first opportunity to attack here within their own end.
And now we have to see what South Buffalo has done as far as defensive line speed and contesting for the ball. They had maybe one or two poach attempts throughout the first half, selecting to just solidify their defensive line. But unfortunately, without proper line speed, Tampa just happened to get past the gain line multiple occasions. Will Tampa lean back into the kicking game that had success for them earlier parts of the first half? They have so many options. I mean, so many options.
Tampa Krewe do well to dominate at scrum time, bullying over the top. We see both nines go to the back of their scrums as Donegan ends up with it for the Krewe, and taking it to the 9 is Oliveri. Oliveri does a little show and go inside the fly half, gets them to the 22. Donegan, though, having to dig for that ball as South Buffalo sends in the cavalry, slows down the ball a little bit, and now they have their defensive line set. Tampa Krewe, though, work hard to get back into alignment and try and find their pattern as their forward pod takes it. That was Bradley for the Krewe women. Donegan gets it to Black, who then gets it to Snyder. Now Snyder has 2 tries to the name, and as we say that, can she get a third? 3 stiff arms. Oh my, Snyder. It's over for her 3rd try, a hat trick here in the semifinal for them. 46-5, Tampa Krewe still on top.
Nicole Snyder, oh my goodness. She didn't want to be stopped, and this is continued from the first half. 1 shrugs off, 2 shrugs off. The fin is there, another fin switching hands, and the speed to get all the way through. Grabbed by her neck and collar, didn't matter. She was going to get those points, and the hat trick hero early in this first half, Nicole Snyder. What an amazing bit of play from her, and she's been doing that all over the state as well. So many players from this Tampa side who've added so much to their team. Their forward pack and their front 3 are some of the stronger and bashiest players I've seen here in the state of Florida, and that trend is continuing as they creep forward, tick, 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 closer to a national championship game berth. Tampa Krewe are rolling.
Up for the kick is Oliveri. Goes ahead and just takes her time getting that ball set. About 5 minutes gone here in this second half. Kick goes up, and it does go through the sticks, so that'll extend the lead even more for the Krewe. Thumbs up all around, 48-5. What a point deficit here in the semifinal.
You know, I've always been a person who really enjoy highly contested championship level matches, but when a team is on a roll and dominating, you got to take your hat off to them. And my cap is off, ladies and gentlemen. This Tampa Krewe side are showing you in multiple ways how they can score. Nicole Snyder with the hat trick, and South Buffalo, who's up the ante a bit in this beginning of the second half, have even a bigger mountain to climb.
Tampa Krewe off of the kick receipt, lose it, and it goes backwards, but the Premet is there to clean it up there. So they're now at the 40, and South Buffalo trying to attack the seams of the ruck. They're doing well at the interior defense. Conway tries to get in there. She's unsuccessful as they continue to move it through the hands. Oliveri goes to that boot. There's space. She splits the wing and the fullback, and it's a foot race between the wings, and getting tossed out of bounds is Harris. Now, Harris is the only one that's gotten any points on the board for South Buffalo. She just gets tossed out of bounds by the opposing number 14. It looks like that was Jarrett from the Tampa Krewe.
And that try that she scored earlier was the culmination of great work by South Buffalo and forcing and milking penalties against the Tampa Krewe on multiple occasions. Tampa Krewe has upped their discipline, and it's been tough sledding for South Buffalo. South Buffalo will not quit, though. One thing we've already seen earlier in this second half is they're going to continue to fight and push. And we'll see how this match ends up for them. I think they can get more points on the board as this game goes along as well, though.
Lineout goes up, and they just have so much time to work it through the hands after finally bringing down Jarrett at the line. Looks like there might have been a substitute as Panino is becoming the 9. And finally coming up in the line is Risto, who gets the number 2 to ground quickly. As we hear the excitement coming in from the crowd, South Buffalo need a little bit of a light underneath to try and get some points on the board here with 8 minutes gone in the first half, as Tampa Krewe just continued to pummel at the line. Nino digs it and then gets it into the hands of the backs. Oliveri goes to the boot, again gets it over the backs of Harris. It stops just shy of the try zone, and Harris has a sea of the Krewe coming over top. Snyder gets some hands on her and tosses her to ground. And also almost drags her up with her. The number 5 got a not releasing penalty for the Krewe withheld. Somebody's got it within the hands, and in for yet another score is the Krewe.
I believe that was Samantha Black, who was quick on the draw. We got to make sure we check that number. But forcing the penalty, finding these back 3 players isolated. I said before, this is a strategy that they stand strong on. Historically has created great opportunities for them, and we're looking at one of those tries right now. Kicking behind, finding an isolated player, forcing the turnover and going quick before South Buffalo can look up. Another 5 is added. And Tampa Krewe, as I said before and I'll say again, are rolling, extending their lead 53-5 with still another 30 minutes left in this matchup.
30 minutes left to go in this D2 match, and then we've also got the D2 men's matchups coming at you. It'll be the Indian Palas against the Miami Tridents, and then the Irish Wolfhounds will play against the Chiefs to see who will go ahead and punch their ticket in for the D2. And that'll conclude our semifinals. We've already got a couple of teams that have punched in their tickets. For the D3 men's, the Austin Blacks will play against Calusa. And then for the D1 women's, the Utah Vipers against Nova will happen. And then we've got our D1 men's that'll be between Belmont Shore and the Bombers. D2 will be determined today as to who will go to the championship tomorrow. Kick goes up and it is good. So 55-5, the Krewe, Tampa, Florida gang leading over top of South Buffalo. And Lance, though we've got 30 minutes left to go, it doesn't seem like South Buffalo might have what it takes to get on top.
I mean, the score just is becoming a mountain that's insurmountable. At this point, Tampa has to start focusing on other things, right? They, unfortunately, it seems as though a foregone conclusion. As a commentator, I hate to say this with so much time left on the clock, but now they have to worry about the recovery game, because that's just as important as winning the first game. If we're talking about getting a national championship, you got to be able to recover and be as fresh as possible for championship Sunday.
Ball goes to deck on the kickoff, and it rolls out of bounds. Looks like the arm goes in favor of Tampa Krewe, so it will be a put-in, and we're starting to see some of those finishers, the substitutes, come in early for Tampa Krewe, as what you said is totally right, Lance, about winning the recovery battle for the weekend. These players, not only do they play club rugby, they have full-time jobs, they have families, they have all of these other obligations, but they sacrifice it to come here for championship weekend. Krewe just continue to punch in more points as they get that line out cleanly. Snyder's got it in the hands, and she goes behind the back of 2 forwards and gets it into the hands of Black, who then gets it to the wing. And there was a beautiful passage of passes for Krewe as they go back to the right-hand side, making it all the way over to the left. Going in, digging in for that ball is the number 11, Panino, after the earlier 9. Looks like Donegan has a seat going to boot. This kicking game has been lethal for them as the chase comes on. And Lanau is under a lot of pressure from South Buffalo, and so is the Ruck, as Conway has to go ahead and pick it up and go. She does well to get some meters going there. And now on the front foot is South Buffalo. Crew come in to try and disrupt it. Dispenza elects to take it right into that same space. Gets a couple of meters, continues to pump the legs and offloads it. And this looks promising coming in from South Buffalo. Those offloads go to hand and gets it in the hands of our only try scorer, Harris. But it might have been a knock on there. So just yet again, the hopelessness just seems to ensue for South Buffalo.
And in these circumstances, South Buffalo has to put on their pride hat and continue to fight throughout the entirety of this game. You made the trip down here. Tampa isn't the only team making sacrifices. South Buffalo, we're here, ready to go, roaring to go. Unfortunately, they seem to find themselves at a 50-point deficit here in the second half. But they must continue to fight. They're representing a great region of rugby in that Northeast Atlantic area. And I want to see them continue to put on. I know they can score more points. They've shown flashes of brilliance, beautiful rugby, but they're just finding themselves overwhelmed by this Crew side.
Almost getting overwhelmed was the Tampa Krewe scrum, but somebody who never gets overwhelmed is Snyder. Snyder just breaks through there untouched. Gives it yet another friend to Harris. Harris is chasing her down. Can she bring it down? Harris gives another friend from behind. Snyder. Oh, Snyder gets about an 80-meter try, and this athlete cannot be stopped today. Lance, that is a back's dream right there.
Nicole Snyder again. Nicole Snyder, the sniper, finding tries from long distances. And that switch right there with the drag by the 10 is creating ample space. They've ran that before. She's had half breaks from it. And that time she goes the entire length of the field with the pirate bandana representing the Crew. Amazing bit of play from this Crew side. And that piece right there just shows how dangerous Tampa has been all year. They can kick for territory and play a defensive line speed that adds pressure to a back three, or they can run it right at you out of set pieces, striking moves right down the center of the field. And Snyder didn't want to go down. She stiffed on multiple players. Excellent try by her. That's 4, and I know she's hungry for more. Amazing play. Amazing play.
Buffet is most definitely still open for Snyder. It looks like she's going to continue to stay in for this Tampa Krewe side. As Oliveri gets set for the kick, coached by Robert Capriotti. He'll be proud of this win, 60-5. Kick goes to the right, so it'll keep our score 60-5. But this point deficit, with about 25 minutes left to go here in this D2 semifinal. South Buffalo, coached by Glenn Ninoff. You've got to wonder what those halftime conversations and what the intercommunications are between this side as they just continue to watch the Tampa Krewe just score points after points.
And for South Buffalo, this is a paradoxical situation they seem to be in, because this is what they do to other teams. This is what they did in the northern regional to other teams. Completely ran them off the field. Speed, space, physicality. But they just met a Tampa team that was game with their eyes on the prize. They've been building this for a couple years now.
Physicality comes in as well because Tampa Krewe just made a big hit on that side after a good hit off. They go behind the backs of a forward pod, and then going to the boot is Oliveri. It does get blocked though, so South Buffalo get a little bit of fire underneath them. They're at the 50 meters now, and a good clear out gets them well underway. Conway decides to pick and go, waiting for the attack to come. Looks like somebody got their hands in there and they just aren't able to get it. And Oliver calls it back after they attempt a quick tap. The Grood decides to go ahead and use her forwards, it looks like. The Grood moves it to Bristow, who then moves it to Conway. Conway gets the go forward that South Buffalo desperately needs here. Picking it out is DeGrood as Dispenza gets it after the first receiver, and she just decides to stick it right into Munganga. Continuing though on is the South Buffalo side, the green and black.
And I mean, look at South
hits.
Buffalo. finally playing with a little bit of forward play, finally spacing the field out. It's getting success playing as confrontational as they have. This is what I want to see from Buffalo.
Bedford gets a line break that South Buffalo desperately need, and it's a little bit outside of the 22. We're about 30 meters out as Conway gets the ball into hands, and another person who has their hands in there is Tampa Krewe. They end up with it on top.
That was Casham who cashed in on that turnover.
Dispenza now at the line ends up with it after the ball ends up hitting the deck. Trying to get over top is the Tampa Krewe. Risto moves it and does a little bit of a show and go, tries to get the offload. It looks like the ball might have gotten knocked on. There were two knock-ons that ended up happening back there, so we'll play the advantage. Oliver brings it back for a scrum. Looks like it'll be right on the 22, and South Buffalo finally have some very prime attacking position here.
Yeah, they've been injected with a little bit of life, able to play a little bit more left and right. Their forward are doing a lot better job at bringing in more of these Tampa defenders, and that allowed the space later on. One thing about rugby, the beautiful thing is the advantageous situations usually happen because of work that was done a phase or two earlier. That's what we're seeing from Buffalo over that last bit. Able to get a turnover, Tampa was, and Buffalo were able to get it back immediately, but again, 55-point deficit with 20 minutes left in this matchup. This is a tough moment for Buffalo, and it's a gut check moment. What kind of team do you want to be? How do you want to represent yourself?
Scrum is set now for South Buffalo in the green and black there. Body height looks a little bit high there, and it's going to be a penalty that goes in favor of Tampa Krewe. The group goes quickly and moves it to Risto, but Oliver not happy that she took it behind her back, so they will call it back for a reset on that penalty. And decide to go for points there. Looks like they're kind of looking for Ninoff to give the A-OK, and they ask for the T, and lands interesting tactic here to try and go for points when you're down about 55.
I'm gonna say at least two more times. I mean, what can you ask more of? You know, any points, as I said earlier, good points. 20 minutes left. They don't seem to have the ability to score 55 points in the 20 minutes we have left in this game, so they'll take any points they can. I'm not mad at it at all.
Groot goes to the boot, and the kick goes to the left. Flag stayed down, so 5-60. Risky play, so it'll be a 22-meter dropout for Tampa Krewe. And Lance, it's just not what they needed.
I guess now I can be mad at the decision when it didn't go through. But no, just the thought of just any points, adding points, anything to get confidence, anything to get a little spark. I'm definitely with. Unfortunately, this wasn't accurate on the kick.
The 22 dropout goes about 5 meters outside. Dispenza goes up for it, and it looks like it might have gotten knocked down, and Tampa Krewe end up with it. They get knocked out of bounds. Looks like we're going to go to our 20-minute water break here. 60-5, Tampa Krewe on top. We'll be back with the last 20 of this D2 semifinal.
There might be some dark days, and who have you relied on, and who's been sort of your support system to get you through those times?
For me, especially with this whole process, has been, talking to my loved ones and my close family.
Especially when I'm on the road, get a bit of homesickness, but fortunately with technology these days, I'm able to call the missus, call my parents, stay connected with the people who supported me through all my tough times.
When the times get toughest, those are the people that I turn to, and God is who I turn to, and I've been able to get strength from it.
Making sure you're managing your relationships, leaning on the people that you know you can lean on, it's been huge.
It's a really important thing for the players to know, to talk to someone, to open.
How brilliant is it in terms of having this teammate environment that obviously you go out there physically and try and dominate with each other. But then again, it's that sort of camaraderie that is so important to then having good mental well-being.
I think you build so many great friends throughout rugby that is like my safe place.
Your life is kind of like a stool. If you only have rugby and there's only one peg, it's easy to topple over.
Yeah.
But once you have multiple pegs, you have your family, you have a mental health lead, you have those resources, and you have more stability, you're not going to topple over. And that's something that I really take with me everywhere I go.
Let's get ready. Major League Rugby is now.
Defensive lie speed.
Scrum is back underway here. It looks like with the Tampa Krewe now with the put in. And at 60-5, we've got 20 minutes left to go here in the second half. A little less than that. Winner of this, which looks like it'll be Tampa Krewe, will play against the Phoenixville White Horses that ended up on top of the Sacramento Amazons 29-21. So that's who's going to be in our D2 final tomorrow. Lance Kavanaugh and I will be bringing it to you as we see the ball just go behind Bergaman's head there. Had the pleasure of playing with Bergaman a couple times, so gonna have to call her out for that. You can see the frustration as she knocks it on with her first possession.
Yeah, gonna have to contact Gabby after this and tease her a bit. But getting into the game in these situations, she usually comes off the bench for this Tampa side and injects a bit of physicality. Usually she brings a thumping presence to the team. Unable to wrangle in that, but we won't count on that many mistakes from her. With this 20 minutes left, this Tampa team has all the confidence in the world. And South Buffalo, as you can see, is just stingy, trying to get any points they can, whether it's 3 or 5. Let's see how this game ends.
South Buffalo win the scrum well, and Risto moves it and does a looping play with the number 10, who then gets it to Dispenza and gets it right into the hands of Harris, who knocks it on immediately. You can see just the frustration that comes in. You can see what it means, 5-60, down by a lot, but Lance, we talked about that heart and that grit here early on. How do you want to end the season?
How do you want to represent yourself? Every moment you step on a rugby pitch, and then, let me age myself to sound like an older gentleman, but, every time you step on the pitch, you got to show representation of who you are, what it means to you. You can see the frustration after that knock on, slamming the ball down. Can't falter for it. Maybe South Buffalo expected to bring a better presence to this matchup. Continue to be overwhelmed, and mistakes are piling up for both teams over the last 2 or 3 minutes.
Nino dishes this one in, who started out at wing for the Krewe. Compliment to the back three on their growth throughout this game. Snyder gives a behind the back pass, and the 1v1 situation looks like the number 22 Bergaman takes it in, and Bergaman continues to get up and press on. Now at the sideline, she gives it back to Panino. Ball security almost ends up in a turnover, but Panino does well to get in front. Bergaman gives it to the forward pods, and now they lead the cavalry here. Doing well to secure the ball. Eyes are up at ruck time, so they've got a lot of numbers to burn on this left-hand side if they want it. They might not need it, though, with the bullying happening at forward time. And they will look to move it through the hands. Snyder ends up with it down on the ground there. A low pass gets her a knock on. And so now South Buffalo will get a scrum. We've got 15 minutes left to go, though, here in the second half. And safe to say that it looks like Tampa Krewe might take this one and run away with it as we take a look at this replay. Uncharacteristic.
Yeah, just unable to bring that ball to hand. Thrown just a little bit too low. Having to reach, bend over, and stretch to catch those are tough, especially when you know his defensive line is approaching. And, I mean, you got to be impressed by the way the Tampa's played early in this first half, getting all the way to the point now where they can relax, take a deep breath. They know that they're into the finals and through the finals. Now it's just all about discipline. Stick to your structure as best you can. No unnecessary penalties, especially ones that'll show colors or affect tomorrow's game.
Long arm goes up after a penalty comes in for Tampa Krewe there. The front row is coming in at an angle there, so South Buffalo get a penalty. DeGrood will go to boot. And the ball goes over the top of the heads of the initial line, but the wing does well to recover it. And Tampa are going to try and attack out of this end. Panino ends up with it in center field, and they're going to move it through the hands, get it into the hands of Snyder, who takes it to the line, who comes back inside. Now Snyder, yet again, finds herself in open space, gets some more open space there. She's looking for somebody to finish the job, and unfortunately, somebody just can't handle the pass. It looks like Bradley knocks it on. And Snyder, if there's a player that we've mentioned time and time again, it's Nicole Snyder, the number 12 for Tampa Krewe. You have to wonder if Capriotti, you can see him there yelling on, will give her a well-deserved break after line breaks like this.
Yeah, this step right here off the right foot. I mean, to run past the inside defensive help and be able to cut up and around the outside help just shows great athletic ability. The pass thrown just a little bit too high, unable to be routed in. I mean, Nicole Snyder already still continues and already made an impact in this game, all over the score sheet, all over the story of this matchup.
Conway puts a hand on it and gets it into the hands of DeGrood, and somebody who still wants some more Snyder after she just sandwiches the number 16 down to ground there. Off of that scrum set piece, the opposing centers.
Snyder, again.
I've been saying her name this whole entire time there, but somebody who decides to go ahead and take a little bit of a piece of cake there is Bobeck for South Buffalo, who's finally taken to ground. A little bit of a line break there. Gets her over the 40, but Tampa Krewe end up with it again as Munganga gets the go forward. She gets about 10 meters there, and a big shift in possession there as Tampa have numbers to burn there. They use their forwards, and a big fend comes in from the Krewe. Panino moves it to the right-hand side. They go to boot and get it over the heads of South Buffalo. This seems to be their bread and butter here today. Moving it now into the hands of the one who just recently got the line break, but just getting tossed to the ground by Tampa Krewe there. They get their defensive line set, and they pin them even further back down in this end. Some substitutes came in for South Buffalo. They try and pick and go, and Tampa Krewe gets their hands on it. They get their hands down a little bit too low there, and they knock it on. South Buffalo now will have a scrum, and we've got 12 minutes left to go here. 60-5. It looks like Tampa Krewe are going to be your D2 finalist for tomorrow's matchup, where Lance Kavanaugh and I will be talking shop about them against the Phoenixville Whitehorses at 11 a.m. Central Time. Next Level Rugby brings it to you each and every time here.
I mean, again, Nicole Snyder putting her stamp on this matchup. Big collisions in the middle of the field. Not only Nicole, but Munganga already. And again, we have multiple players for this Tampa Krewe. I said that they bring the physicality. Can you bully the bulliers is what we'll be asking tomorrow in the championship. But as I said before, recovery is going to be key. Who can be the freshest on kickoff for Sunday is going to be one of the most important things, because it all comes down to that, right? You did your job here, won by 55 plus, as we can see on this scoreboard. Do you have what it takes to continue that as South Buffalo as a player walking off the field?
Looks like that's number 8, Conway from South Buffalo, who will go ahead and get tended to by our medical staff. Some more substitute starts to roll in for South Buffalo. The finishers now just holding place here, as it doesn't look like they'll be able to finish the job for South Buffalo. Tampa Krewe now 60-5 over top. In our next matchup that'll happen for the D2 bracket for the men's, the Indian Palas will play against the Miami Tridents. Over on the other field, we'll have the Irish Wolfhounds play against the Chiefs for the spot in the D2 final tomorrow. South Buffalo, they're scrum under a little bit of pressure there, but Dispenza takes it in hard at the line. Snyder and Munganga almost get her down, but she does well to get her arms free, and there's some space to burn here. Decides to tuck it, and just too late on the offload was Lanau. Bristow has to come up and clean up the mess here as she takes it in to the defensive line. using now with their forwards. The Tampa Crew just patiently waiting for their defensive effort. Munganga tries to get her hands in there, stays out though, stays disciplined. They do a little bit of some interplay there, and it gets them a little bit of go forward there, but they knock it on. The Tampa Crew now on the attack here, and they look like they want some more points. She gets a little bit isolated there, so a good counter ruck comes in from South Buffalo. Looks like it might have not come in through the gate though. And we'll see how Tampa Crew kind of manages the last bit of this game.
Yeah, it's best to slow it down. You want to play intense. You want to still put your best foot forward, play physical, but you already know what's happening tomorrow for you. You just want to make sure you get out of here clean, no injuries, no cards, nothing that'll affect tomorrow's matchup, and focus on the job at hand, finishing strong.
Line out set for Tampa Crew as we enter into the final 10 minutes of the second half. It's been a long game for South Buffalo as that Tampa Crew win that line out. They have a lot of interplay happening here. It's a multi-layered attack, but it ends up with the ball going into a back shoulder pass there. And they're under a lot of pressure here. Somebody ends up with it, and it's South Buffalo. An offload off of the deck gets them some more go forward there as they set up their attacking platform, trying to round the hinge of the interior defense is South Buffalo. But they get a little bit bullied there at ruck time, taking it into the heart of this defense is South Buffalo, and not really looking for the space here as they utilize their forwards. You've got to wonder where the backs are. This all looks extremely flat for their attack. Using yet another forward pod is South Buffalo. More forwards still coming around. Big question is, where are the backs for South Buffalo? Finally, Risto gets it, and she's taken to ground quickly. The wing has to come across and fill the ruck here. And just tiring stuff here for the forwards. Lance, if you're back, you've got to wonder what their position is for South Buffalo.
Yeah, South Buffalo is just doing what's necessary to keep possession and still be able to attack. Whenever the ball goes out to the back line, they seem to lose it, as we just seen right here, knock on coming. A bit of frustration showing up for this South Buffalo team. And it seems as though the things that usually work for them, or the things that they've been known to use to get ahead, are just failing them at the present moment. But the pressure by this Tampa side, holding that defensive line so strong, not giving up so much space, really approaching the defensive part of the game, the defensive mindset of the game very strongly, as we get a look at Nicole Snyder. You got to say both names with emphasis because she's been going crazy all throughout the game. Ball rolls back out of the scrum. Thankfully, the referee stops the match, gets this scrum back. But Nicole has been lighting up this game. And defensively over the last 5 minutes, 6-7 minutes, she's shown up too.
Some substitutes start to roll in for South Buffalo. The number 23, Emily Riccardi, now will come on for the final 8 minutes of this matchup. And tomorrow is Championships Day. We still got the D2 semifinals where we'll be talking shop here. John Broca will come back on and lovingly talk you through that D2 matchup with Lance Kavanaugh. We'll have another D2 semifinal on the other field. And then tomorrow will be Championship Day. It starts at 10 a.m. with the D3. We'll talk you through the D3 men's, and then D2 for men's and women's, and D1 club for men's and women's. It'll be a jam-packed, fun-filled Championship Day. And a knock-on comes in from Tampa Krewe after some passages of play there. South Buffalo will get the scrum. 7 minutes gone, 60-5 still with Tampa Krewe on top.
Yeah, and Tampa Krewe have slowed down a bit over this last 15 minutes. Haven't really upped the pressure as much offensively. They had some line breaks, but nothing really came to fruition. Let's see if they get the ball back, how they approach it. It's South Buffalo, it's all hands on deck. They have to throw everything in. They have to go all in. Get some points back, most importantly.
Groot gets it to Risto, who tries to run a switch with the replacement outside center, and it gets knocked on there. Looks like that London Bridge almost fell down there. Snyder ended up on the other side of it. Oliver blows it up, and it calls for a knock on going in favor of South Buffalo.
Coach. Bind. Set.
Scrum is underway, and a little bit late to get up off of the knee was South Buffalo, but they are able to come up on top with the ball. Risto gets it to Dispenza, who then gets it to Lanao. Lanao cuts back inside, and this is a little bit of a spark for there. Can they finish out this game with a try? Dispenza has to go over the top of Tampa Krewe, who contest at ruck time, and yet again, they end up with possession of the ball. Just dominated possession throughout this whole match, as we'll see what they decide to do to manage this game here as we enter into the final 5 minutes of the semifinal. Utilizing their forwards now. See Black step in at playmaker and gets it into the hands of the substitute there. Pezza almost gets her way, but she's finally brought to ground there as number 6 moves it to Bergman. Bergman takes it in and then continues to press on. Nobody holds her down there. Presents the ball back cleanly, and it's like Panino tried to get into the hands of the number 6. She's just not able to gather it. Ball doesn't get knocked on though, so they continue to press on though. A nice step off of the right-hand foot. Gets more forwards to come over the top here. Nino goes in there and digs it out, and it utilizes the forwards. Some nice interplay happens here by the jersey. She's taken down is Shakel. Continuing though to press on is Tampa Krewe there. Can they get some more points on the board? Place the emphasis, get the final nail in the coffin there. They slow it down. Panino, scrum half, takes it in and loses the ball right in front of the sticks. A knock on. Lance, we just kind of talked about the game management. Tampa Krewe's probably going to have to go back to the drawing board tonight and talk about how they are going to have to manage if they're up by a lot and how to kind of combat those nerves as you enter into the final minutes of the matchup.
Yeah, everyone feels in a situation where you're so confident you can put up points at any time, at any moment. You find teams that might step away from their normal structure of attack. Tampa Krewe just being strong in approach, picking goals as the opportunity presents itself. Players are falling down, getting tackled, placing, getting back up, and retrieving the ball. This Tampa team got a few players that want to get on the scoreboard for sure, continuing the fight. And South Buffalo, bend but not breaking, find a way to not give up points there.
South Buffalo win the scrum, and they kick it right out of bounds on the line. We talked about Snyder a lot, but one person who didn't really get a lot of recognition just because she was such a primary playmaker is the number 15, Black. Black has played all 80 minutes alongside Snyder, and that interplay that they have, if you've got two really good attacking threats and then you've got such a dynamic fly half in Oliveri, you can see, even though they don't look very excited, the Tampa Krewe coaches, they're probably excited about this win as they will get their ticket for the D2 final. A not straight call and possibly going up early. There, Oliver gives a short arm penalty for South Buffalo. And just slow to get there and try and get their attacking platform underway is South Buffalo.
Yeah, and one thing about, this Tampa team, they have players that do more than just play 15s. They got players that have been learning different disciplines, playing rugby league. Samantha Black, who we just spoke on, was on the 7th squad for Phoenix over the summer. That took 6th place, I believe, or 5th place, I believe. Did really well for themselves to represent who they are. This moment for this Tampa Krewe side has been coming for a long time. They've been building, and I know they've been working really hard since losing in the regional last year to the eventual champions, the Minks, and they're going in to score again after a big tackle by Nicole Snyder. Turnover cause, and Tampa adding points in the final 2 minutes of this game.
Looks like Dispenza, the number 13, was on the receiving end of that tackle. She was a little slow to get up, and a knock on there. We see here just this big hit by Snyder. Yikes.
And it looks like Dispenza fell into her own teammate and jarred the ball loose. And Casham was there to cash him in, adding 5 more points underneath the sticks. Nicole Snyder has shown up offensively, defensively, and everywhere in between. This has been a full 80-minute working by this Tampa Krewe side. And they look focused even in this moment, still breathing a little bit heavy, waiting for this conversion. But they're going to completely finish this game and play all the way through. This should be one of the last plays of the match.
Looks like Black will take the conversion within the center sticks after a try by Casham, the number 7, the spouse of Chelsea Casham, the number 13. Kick goes up. It's good. So 67-5. Game is called. And you can just see hands go up as Tampa Krewe find their way into the D2 final tomorrow against the Phoenixville White Horses, where we'll be talking shop about them for the D2 final here at Round Rock in Houston, Texas. But Lance, final thoughts on Tampa Krewe?
Tampa Krewe look like a team of destiny. They look like they have put in the time. They have the players, but recovery is big. They play against a very, very confident team tomorrow for the national championships from Pennsylvania. This is going to be a matchup of the ages. I can't wait to call it with you tomorrow, Darian. Appreciate this game today, and I'll see you then.
And coming back on will be John Broker, who's going to talk shop about the Indy Impalas in the Miami Tridents for the D2 semifinal. We still have more rugby yet to play, but tomorrow will be championship day. Thanks for joining us here. We'll be right back.
It's here and it's right for you, the rugby fans. It is the Fantasy League game for Major League Rugby, the only exclusive Fantasy League game for Major League Rugby globally. Getting started is easy. Just log into the platform, head to the play section, and you're in the game. But there's an important step: connecting your wallet.
That's right. To collect player cards, you need to fund your wallet. Oval E offers various options like Ramp, Taurus, MetaMask, each with its own advantages. This process is just a straightforward way to buy in-game tokens, enhancing your gaming experience by allowing you to access different features and player cards within the game.
Once you're set up, explore the play section to see available tournaments. It's where all the action happens.
Looking for new cards? Head to the primary marketplace. And if you're into trading, the secondary marketplace is your playground to sell and swap cards.
Ooh, Oval E is not just a game, Corbs, it's a rugby community and an experience. Whether you're competing in tournaments or trading cards, there's something for every rugby fan.
Exactly. So log in, set up your wallet, and start your manager's journey in Oval E. It's easy, fun, and the rewards are just waiting for you.
Whey protein is my favorite product. Best part about it is I can have it straight after a workout or a training session.
My favorite product is vitamin D. Back in DC, we practice a lot indoors, especially in winter, don't get a lot of sunlight, so having some vitamin D is important. We select Thorn because we know it's tested and it's safe to use.
Have been served. Elias spins it the other way. Alicon splits defenders, then the offload. Oh, what kind of magic is this? Sam Tuafua does it again.
Folks, we are here to make the fast food business faster. Many times we don't really know what to order, but there is a part of your body that always does.
Introducing Taste ID. Taste ID will revolutionize the way that your consumers consume.